Good evening, and welcome to the 5th season of Moviedrome. You see, there really is no shortage of weird and interesting cult-type films, in spite of the abysmal dreck which passes for entertainment in the contemporary cinema. In keeping with our traditional policy of only presenting the most positive and uplifting visions of the Dream Factory, we have 3 pictures depicting Hollywood as hell: Day of the Locust, Inserts, and Robert Aldrich's The Big Knife. Aldrich remains the most prolific Moviedrome director, but he receives strong competition this year from Canada's own David Cronenberg. We're presenting the TV premieres of Dead Ringers and The Depraved Rabid, perhaps Mr. Cronenberg's most horrible and brilliant film. We have directorial offerings from Orson Welles, Larry Cohen, Clint Eastwood, Stanley Kubrick, and Henri-Georges Clouzot, and sterling performances by Dennis Hopper, Vincent Price, Ed Harris, Ida Lupino, Bob Hoskins, Shelley Winters, Peter Sellers, and Marilyn Chambers. We have a giant alligator in the New York sewer system, and a pterodactyl in the Chrysler Building. Several ingenious murder plots, and a befuddled university professor infatuated with a teenage nymphette. We even have a non-violent Peckinpah film, to say nothing of no less than 2 movies with the word serpent in the title. How can the discerning cinephile resist? Our first film tonight is one of the last gasps of the once proud Australian cinema, Mad Max 2. Mad Max 1, you may recall, was a low-budget science fiction action thriller which introduced Mel Gibson to the agog world. Mad Max 2 is that rare thing, a sequel which is actually better than the original. The only other instance I can think of is For a Few Dollars More, the sequel to A Fistful of Dollars. Interestingly, in both cases, the director remained the same. Leone, of course, went on to make an even better sequel, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The second Mad Max sequel, Beyond Thunderdome, was by all accounts not of the same caliber, despite the presence of the noted actress Tina Turner and Mr. Gibson yet again. Mad Max 2, released in the US as The Road Warrior, is a tremendous action film. Benefiting from a bigger budget than Mad Max 1, it also lacks its predecessor's desultory borrowings and pretentiousness. It still borrows extensively from road movies, spaghetti westerns, punk fashion, and John Ford cavalry films, but in a very clever and entertaining way. The director was George Miller, and for my money, it's his best film. But what's best for the discerning viewer isn't always what's best for our favorite planet. And Mad Max 2 really should have been forced to file an environmental impact report before beginning shooting. What with all the burning tires, blazing diesel fuel, wasted petrol, and the inevitable mounds of styrofoam cups and flattened beer cans dumped in the desert, Mad Max 2 and all of its ilk of action films stands as a major ecological menace. As do all motion pictures, when you consider the volume of toxic chemicals produced by the processing laboratory and ultimately dumped into the groundwater and the sewage system of the unhappy city where the film is edited. Films are a petrochemical process and a waste-intensive industry. And if this relatively humble offering is bad, what about a 30 or a 40 million buck exploderama such as Die Hard 3 or Terminator 9? Can you imagine the amount of pollution generated by Arnold Schwarzenegger's camper or Mel Gibson's Learjet? Ultimately, of course, this tirade means nothing. Film's a big business, like napalm manufacture or the second-generation Concorde. But to reduce waste in the entire entertainment business, don't watch big-budget Hollywood movies, which are disproportionately idiotic in their excess. Don't ever watch commercials or rock videos for the same reason, and stay tuned to Moviedrome, home of the lower-budget, marginally ecologically sounder films. Yay!